With exercise A07, we are going to talk about refactoring. Refactoring is pretty much modifying code, rewriting code differently to improve its readability, etc., without changing the features of the code, the core functionalities of the code. So we still want to keep our program as it is, but we want to rewrite differently the way that we are handling potential problems with values that are out of range. So the pseudocode that is presented in exercise A07 is what you will have to implement using Raptor. You can see that we start with a if statement, which conditional is using a OR logical operator. The two terms are choice is lesser strict than 1, or choice is greater strict than 4. What we are trying to do here is, instead of processing the the error message at the end of our structure of if statement, we're going to get rid of this case immediately. If the input is non-valid, then display an error message and do nothing else. Else, then start examining case after case. And you are going to see that, if you look here, the way that we are looking at all the other possible case is reminiscent of what we did in our first version of this program. If choice equal 1, then do something. Serially adjust next conditional. If choice equal 2, then do something. And if choice equal 3, and you see that I skipped here this redundant code because it's getting relatively tedious. And we finish by if choice equal 4, then display A times B and if. So we have here a series of 4 serially arranged conditional statement. Why do they work? Well, because choice is going to have only a single value, so we are going to trigger only a single of those if statement, since they don't have any else counterpart. However, we take care of making sure that we have a correct input to start off with. So let's try to take our Raptor diagram, flowchart diagram. This is where we left it at the end of exercise 6. And we are going to modify it. You will see that this approach has one advantage. The advantage being that instead of having such a diagram that is really wide, and going nested, many levels of nesting and cascading there, we're going to have a structure that is maybe a little bit easier to read and to understand. So let me start by adding a selection statement, okay, before even our over selection statement. Our ID here, I double click on the diamond. Our ID here is that we want to try if choice is lesser than 1 strict and or choice is greater than 4 strict. If this condition is true, well, we have an error problem. Okay, so this is our bad input detection conditional statement, if you prefer. If this is true, we need to display an error message. I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to scroll all over here in search for the put statement that represents such an error message. Let me click on it, select it, and then I'm going to insert it somewhere else. Well, as you can notice, we cannot really drag and drop easily when there is a scroll bar. So I'm going to put it back where I initially found it, and I'm going to try here a cut instead. This should work a lot better. So I'm scrolling back here, and there we go. If this condition is true, we display an error message. Else, and I'm moving all of those nested conditional statement right here. This is my else part. If all of this doesn't work, then I'm going to look at choice equal 1 possibility, choice equal 2 possibility, etc. And I could leave it nested like this. My program would work. If you are not sure why, please test it and ask a question on the course forums. It's really important that you understand. This structure here would work fine. However, to follow the specification of the exercise, I am going to move things around a little bit. I am going to come to a point where in the else part of this conditional, this first conditional, I will have first a conditional testing if choice equal 1. Then I'm going to move right after it, in a serial manner, I'm going to have the test if choice equal 2. There we go, we are here. Similarly, I'm going to pretty much decascade, denest all those conditional, move them around, and you can see that here it's starting to look like what our final result will be like. Okay, first test if there is an error. If there is no error, test 1, test 2, and I'm going to collapse the structure here. This is a little box here that allows you to kind of fold everything that is below that if statement so that it's taking less room on the screen. And I'm going to move the last one right here. And we should be pretty much done at this point. Let me have a look. First test, if there is a problem, display an error message and do nothing else. If not, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional, fourth conditional. And I'm collapsing them just so that they take less room on the screen, and we can therefore have a better, more compact view of the code. Okay, but the code is still there. If you click on this button, you will expand again the conditional and see everything that is inside of it. So pretty much this is it. We modify the code, and I will let you once again, left as an exercise, you are going to test this new version of the code using the test harnesses that we used so far.